Maybe nothing will break this time. Check, check, 1, 2, sound check. Hello, hello, is anybody out there? Hello. Welcome to another episode of Under Construction, comrades. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. Today we're back in Trainz 2022, as we always are. Just give me a moment to wind up the announcements. Send that where it belongs. And run over to the Trainz official Discord and get my posting ready. Route building stream live now. And if people are filing in, I'm not looking right yet. I'll be right there. Alright. So, while we wait for everyone to file on in, we'll play a round of not Tetris. Hi, Tyler. Good to see you. It's been a while. I discovered a new kind of Tetris, which I suppose I should do at some point, along with doing Sandtris again. Maybe I should have a poll for what kind of Tetris. Would you prefer Sandtris or Pentris? I think it's Pentris, the one with the five blocks, the five block blocks. But no, it's always going to be not Tetris until I decide on doing something else. I don't know what. There are so few, I should say. There are so few good little Flash games like this these days. And this is, I guess, technically not a Flash game, but it is, you know, it's a kind of thing. It is an arcade style game, I guess you could say. That's the word I was looking for. It's an arcade style game. I messed that up. I can't believe this. I'm out of practice. It's been 2 weeks. I'm out of practice. Alright, I'm just giving up and putting that there. I'm going to use that to line me up against the wall, and I'm going to slide that right there. And we have no lines. No lines because of that. Oh no. Put that there. Put that there. Put this over here, I guess. Shoot. Alright. Alright, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? How do we get out of this predicament? I've built an unstable structure. Oh! We're gonna get a line down, though. I like how all of the, the mechanical engineers that I've known, in particular, really hate this game. Tyler hates it. Weibold hated it. There's something about it that just makes the engineering mind very angry because, you know, it's not Tetris. Sandtris I honestly find more difficult. Like, I find it difficult to conceptualize strategy in Sand Tetris. And I'm not entirely sure why that is, but it's, I don't know, it just is what it is. Let's slide that down to there. I also have our soda over on the right. I will crack that open once we lose. Which, you know, probably won't be long, but we do already have almost 1,000 points. We're doing decently. I need to remember to try to get those combos if we ever want to break our high scores ever again. It's important. It's part of Tetris, right? It's part of Tetris that you think about, like, you come into this game and you think, you know, throw everything you know about Tetris out the window, whatever that may be, because this is something wholly different and weird and unacceptable. But really, a lot of the same mechanics are still there. It's just tougher to execute with precision. You just lose the precision that you had, and so now it comes down to not just how far you're thinking ahead, but also like fine motor control, which is not really something you'd expect for Tetris. I did not expect to be sitting here doing a review of not Tetris, but, you know, it is what it is. And we're going to lose another line. Like, honestly, a single line gone at a time, that's almost counterproductive. It's almost counterproductive. And for those of you that are watching this and going, well, where the hell is the Trainz route building? Welcome to the channel. We do this every time. I don't have a slide that's like the stream will begin soon, so I do this instead. I know it's slightly counterproductive, but when we actually start things for real. Like, I want to give people a chance to show up. Alright, this might lose us one line. Okay, no, it did not. But if I put this right here, also probably one line. Not ideal, but, you know. Okay, we got two. And we're going to get another two. Maybe we'll get a third one. No, just two. You can see the stratification in the stuff that we've put down. It's honestly kind of impressive. Never paid that much attention to it before. Okay, I wish... See, the other thing this game does not have is the ability to save a piece, as far as I know. So you're a little bit handicapped in the department of being able to make combos, because sometimes you grab a long one and you sit on it for a while. I understand from having watched people play Tetris. I'm far from an expert. I don't really play Tetris, aside from at the arcade, at the vintage arcade downtown. Shoot, what is it called? TJ, if you're watching, what is it called? What's the one I'm thinking of? Free play. Never mind. I got it. I was concentrating so much on that, I absolutely botched that piece placement, and now we're going to die. This is it. This is it, folks. We're going to actually have to do what we came here to do. All right. Let's get that over with. Close that out. Put this over here. Put this over here. Now we have a view to a yard. Hello, Train Street. Let me hit enter on the thing in the thing. And let us crack open our soda for the week. Let me make sure that you can see it, because I know that there's going to be the light in front. This is our not sponsored, but still, Yacht Club, Rhode Island's official soda. This is the pale dry ginger ale, which is the ginger ale that I do not like very much. But they don't have the golden ginger ale anymore, so this will have to do. I'm giving it another shot, because I bought it a long time ago, didn't like it, but now they don't have the golden ginger ale, so I want a ginger ale, and this is what we got. Yeah, it's not very tasty. It doesn't have a lot of taste. It's not bad, but it's not strong. Vernus is the only ginger ale. Honestly, I really like Canada Dry. Yeah, that ginger ale is it's not quite what I need. But either way, I don't know why this switch is sunken into the ground. For those who don't remember, or for those who are new, welcome. We are in... Have I used a Metro North Railroad train on this game? No, not the right era. This is the Twin Cities of Bellington and South Bellington, or BS. We've been working here on the freight yard for the Gilson Eastern Railroad. Alright, Godspeed Train Street. I know you're like on vacation or whatever. Yeah. So we have some sort of weird stuff going on with the way this, the way these tracks line up, but you know, it is what it is. We've got the coach yard. We've got a like a general freight yard, and then we have the stub-ended grain yard over here. And that's it. That's our rail yard. I know it chops off kind of sharply down here. Again, that was so that we don't have to build this tile over here because of our rules regarding the way that that works, where we have to build tiles. It does give me enough room to put an industry or two in here, which I might do in the future. But also, we've got to get this out to this, which is the main line heading west. This is our yard lead, or, yeah. This is our drill track, if you will. And this is going to be leading down into there. Now, I don't know if we're going to do a lot of track work today, because we've been doing a lot of track work. Like I said, we had a lot to do over here. We've got the roundhouse, what's left of it, diesel shed, servicing, more servicing. Oh shoot, we didn't hook up the coal thing. Where should I put that? There's not a lot of room over here. Also, it's slightly raised, which... that is a slight headache. Let me just grab my embankment from over here, because that'll do it. That'll do it. from when I used the Cumbres and Toltec Tower, I used an embankment to get up to the level of... Yeah, there we go. Why is it... Okay, there we go. I used an embankment to get up to the level of the track. Or of the unloading dock. Well, let's zip back across town. We've got a lot of town we've got to build, but I'm certainly not happy. I'm certainly not unhappy with what we've built so far, and I'm glad that everyone could be along for this ride. Okay, let's bring this up to the level here. Trying to be careful with it. I don't really want anyone to be able to see underneath it, but I don't have too much of a choice. Does this have an end cap, or are they both open? Less than ideal. What are you gonna do? Maybe I'll put like a boulder or something to block the edge. Or here's an idea. If I scoot this back to here, and then I add another piece. What do you mean it's an incompatible? Oh, because that's the wide one. Derp. Bring that up to there. I think this might have been what I did on the other one. Bring this up to here. One of the things I like about Trainz route building is problem solving. You don't necessarily know how everything's going to work until you sit down with your assets and try to make it happen. And then I'll extend this out to here. Let's try to make it as straight a line as we can. Yeah, and let's straighten that spline. Yeah, how about that? That's about as good as it's going to get, I think. And now, I was going to say, should I do what I did on the other side? Let's actually jump into Surveyor 2.0 so that we can just copy what we did over here to over there. One of my favorite things about this. Nope. 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 Alright, maybe it's not going to be that easy. Come on. No. No, okay, the hitbox of this is totally blocking that. Okay, I guess we'll do it from scratch. Son of a gun. Okay, that's the first son of a gun of the day. At least we've got ginger ale. And I can bring this out to about there, and I can actually do what I just did on the other end at both ends. Might be wise. Because otherwise what I would end up doing is just putting a descent. I mean, I could attach this on both ends. I'm just not sure if that's necessarily wise. Right now I was thinking about attaching it on this end. But I could attach it over here instead. I mean, this would be the shorter run. And actually, if I straighten this out... Oh, I didn't add the thing on the end first. Doesn't matter if it's straight yet. Oh, shoot. Come on, work with me, please. Let's just have... Can we just have a normal field trip? What do you mean, invalid spline? What do you mean? Oh, wait. Holding shift will help, I think. There we go. And I'll be honest, that looks like garbage, but whatever, we're gonna have to deal with it. And, yeah, okay, I did straighten it. And let's lower this back down to there, to the ground. Now, please don't tell me when I go to do this, wait, is this not standard gauge? It's not standard gauge. It's always got to be difficult. It's always got to be difficult. Rails only, or do I want... I want some kind of rails only. Rails only. Let's find something. Let's find something. Not rusty track. What about just track? This is going to be, like, hideously tall. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe we just deal with that. If I... Oh, wait! I have an idea. Wait, no. Wait. Hold on. If I get rid of that... Okay. Yeah, it keeps it. Okay. Alright, cool. I probably want this to be at the same level as this and then go down. So, let's raise that just a touch. Just a skosh. Like that. You can just barely see the tops of the ties. Then bring that down to ground level. And let's just extend it a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Just enough to push more than one car of coal through, if that happens to be what you're doing. And then, if I move that to there, can I straighten this without things breaking? Aha. And then that. You always want a straight piece before a switch. Straightened piece. It will help your headaches a lot. It'll make your track work look an awful lot better. Okay, I did not realize we had forgotten to do that. I know I said the track work was not going to be our scheme this episode, but when you notice a problem, you fix a problem. Okay. Let's go back to work over here. Whether we want to do a block over here... Wait, that's the graveyard. One of these blocks, maybe? I'm not entirely sure what our next course of action necessarily needs to be. I really don't feel like doing this. What I want to do is I want to work over here. Yeah, let's load this all in. Let's get rid of the... Let's get rid of the search filter for now, although we're probably going to need it back in just a minute. We've got this stuff going on. We've got a very sort of Main Street USA vibe. Just a touch. Just a little bit. And a lot of funky stuff that we've done with buildings and sort of kit bashing to make things look better. I think what I want is a fence, which we're going to have to drag out the search filter again for, probably. But I can just steal this one. Nope, that's grass. Oop. Chidlick. I want a fence coming out the corner of this house and going this way, parallel to those buildings there. That feels semi-realistic. What's interesting is when I'm doing this and when I'm putting down fences next to buildings on corners like this, there's a very specific place that I remember from my childhood, which is sort of a weird thing. Like, just an area in my neighborhood where somebody lived on a corner and had a chain link fence on the edge of their yard. I don't know why, but when I'm building stuff, and I assume this is fairly common when anyone is building things, but when I'm building stuff, I'm thinking about the prototypes that I'm aware of, the things that I'm familiar with. And not all of these things have prototypes, like this, for example. I don't have anything particular in mind when I look at this, aside from, oh, well, maybe there was a place that had a track that ran through it once upon a time. No, when I think about this, I think about areas and towns near me. When I think about this, I think about similar places I've been to or driven through or stopped at for lunch on a road trip. And if anyone out there is a current or aspiring Trainz or outbuilder, what I say to you is take mental notes. Everywhere you go, take mental notes. Try to look around and see the way things are. because your best resource is the real world. And there's a lot of world out there. So, you know, learn what you can. Okay. So, I'm not sure what I want to put over here. I might want something more commercial down the end of this. I even might do like a church, like an urban church, maybe down here towards the corner. And maybe that would be welcome. I mean, we've got one over there, but I'm thinking about a specific place on a road near me. This is quite a nice church. This is something that maybe you wouldn't even really see in a place like this, because you are... Because this is quite a nice building in an area where a land price for something like this would be kind of expensive. And you'd probably want it situated someplace that's on a more major road. This road right here, I mean, maybe it would be or was a major road. I'm not sure if I'm going to punch this through right here. I'm honestly not entirely sure. Being able to fit an underpass here was something that I didn't expect to be able to do. And being that we have a at-grade crossing there, an underpass here, and this is a major road, so it would probably get one. But sometimes you just don't know. You know, you could come down here and you could take a right and a left, or you could take a left and a right and make it under the tracks. But considering the fact that this was built relatively late, I would imagine that most of it was done with the provision for all of the roads that were currently there. So it's a question of, do we think this church, which weirdly enough doesn't have any doors, oh, it has doors on the side. It doesn't have doors on the front. That's kind of weird. Actually, it only has 2 doors, and they're both on the same side. I'm not sure I like this. Maybe I should put it over here, then? Because at least the doors will face a road? I think it's weird that it doesn't have doors. Does anyone else find that weird? Well, that's sort of a modern one. Look at this. That actually fits really well in this corner. This is something that you would not see in the middle of a quasi-urban area like this, because you're not going to put this giant plate glass... Like, this is in the middle of the suburbs. This is a suburban church, surely. Oh, is there another version but it has doors? No. Why do I have 2 versions of the same thing? Because they're different QIDs. They're the same asset. They've got to be. Okay. What about... Well, that's cute. That's like a Grange Hall. Actually, do I have a Grange Hall? No. I have a granite boulder. That's what I've got. Again, these guys being down the road from one another is kind of funny. Not necessarily unrealistic, though. You drive around, you know, a city in the Northeast, and there's just, like, churches out the wazoo. Okay. But even if we're going to put that there, you are bowing to die. Even if we're going to put that there, we need to find something to put in here. And I'm still thinking, like, more 3-deckers, right? More 3-deckers. But what else? What else? What's going to make this section more unique than those areas right there? I'm not sure, honestly. I'm kind of stuck. We have a couple of buildings. We have this, which is honestly kind of cool. I like this building. What's up, Douglas Welsh? Douglas Welsh. This can go here, and this is, you know, this is a closed down place, so I don't know where I got these buildings, but they're not bad. Radio Shack? No, Radio Tower. Okay, I misread that. Evening, Icer. Good to see you. What is this? This is enormous. Never mind. Holy cow, what is this? Electronia So I assume this is a kind of electronics factory, if I had to guess. Um, oh, what is that? Oh, block area stand motel. Oh, that's kind of cool, and you've got houses in the back. Um, if we were in an area where that made sense, that would be a great little thing to drop down, just to sort of make our lives easier. What is this? Uh-oh. Loading asset? Let's undo that. Oh, it didn't even load. Okay. When it meant loading, not... Um... Hey, Ellis, here's a question. When did you start building this route on Ellis Earth? Uh-oh. Does something look weird in the stream? Ellis Earth. What does that mean? Did I... Is there something weird going on with the stream that I don't know about? What do you mean, Ellis Earth? What does that mean? I don't have my own planet. Who texted me? Never mind. That's your... Oh, practically your own world. Okay, okay. That's what you mean. That's what you mean. Okay. No, seven or 8 years ago now? I think it might have been 7. Because I did the math not too long ago. You could go back and find the very first episode of this series and you'd be able to figure it out. But I figured if I worked on this thing 3 hours a week for the last 7 years or so, I probably have about 1,000 hours on this route. So I don't know when the anniversary is, and I'm not planning on doing anything to celebrate it. Maybe more pressing is the fact that the 10th anniversary of the Iron Horseman Chronicles is Sussex Park Gate open. The 10th anniversary of the Iron Horseman Chronicles is a few months away. Isn't that crazy? Okay, I like this a lot. If I had known about it, I would have made this the entire driveway. Sussex Park Gate. Maybe I can use that here. Maybe I will use it here. Let's do that. Yeah, I never, like, finished the wall here. Because, you know, I did that Steam thing. You know, you punch in your Steam ID and it steals all your data, but also it tells you how much, like, your account is worth. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm realizing that the game that I've played most on Steam, or the game that I've played most is not on Steam. It's either Minecraft, or probably Minecraft as a distant second to Trainz as a franchise. Now, individual game, like specific game, I couldn't tell you which one I spent the most time in. It's got to be either 06 or 22, maybe. Icer says, so I got a new gaming PC with 12 fans, 2 monitors too. Plan on getting back into Trainz again. Get to redo the Milwaukee Dam and the Great Northern Dam. Found a new way to get detailed elevation data. That's cool. That sounds really great. I know that, like, dem routes are really cool to me, and if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be doing some kind of dem route. Okay, I'm realizing that I goofed up with these bridges because there is a pillar directly in the middle of the river, and that's no good for anybody. So I'm just going to scoot... Let's turn the sensitivity down and try that again. I'm just going to scoot the river over to the right here. Yeah, Tane is another contender for me. I probably spent more time... You know, I feel like I spent an eternity in Trainz 2006, but ultimately I don't think I spent all that much time. Because when you're a kid, that amount of... Like, the amount of effort to do what you're doing, it... Like, you don't track it, you don't understand it. Like, there's no way. There's no way. But as an adult, like, I'm acutely aware of how much time I am spending, and so much more time has gone by, right? Like, that's the other thing. As a kid, you have this... Well, we always have a skewed perspective, right? On how fast time is going by. Like, when you're younger, less time feels longer, and then when you're old and decrepit like me, blink and it's been years. Uh, but so I saw a post. I saw a post on the like I think it might have been like the Century Homes subreddit, and it was somebody asking, "What is this?" And the this in question was a telephone jack in the wall, and I was mortified. I am ancient and old, and I don't know how anyone does it. I I am like, What do you mean you don't know what that is? Uh, anyway, when will the Iron Horseman Chronicles come back? I wish it would. The Iron Horseman Chronicles was a lot of fun, and can you let me select this spline, please? Goodness gracious. The Iron Horseman Chronicles was a lot of fun, but it was a time commitment that I don't think I could possibly like dream of maintaining anymore. Um, 17 and know how to use a rotary phone. I'm ancient then. No, you're just anachronistic. Uh, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's different. I have a rotary phone. It does not work though because of like modern VoIP protocols. VoIP. Okay, let's squeeze this river up a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. It's doing a little zigzag, and that's fine. Um, I've mentioned before that I've tried to write, or I've been trying to write a Iron Horseman Chronicles: The Motion Picture, the novel. What a lot of people don't know is that the Horseman had a tentative plan, and by the Horseman had, I mean I had, because I'm a nutter, and just planned it without consent from anyone. Uh, a tentative plan for 10 seasons and 4 follow-up movies. Is that realistic? No, never was. Um, but I figured, okay, if we're gonna do this, we want to lay out a plan for this to go as long as possible. And if we're going to have our railroad, our subject railroad, and I wish I had this much like articulation and forethought. This is not what I was thinking, really. I was just saying like, oh, we'll do 10 seasons and a bunch of movies. Uh, but the idea at its heart was, okay, we're looking at a railroad in the midst of dieselization, in the midst of the transition era. Even if the Iron Horseman Railroad hangs on to steam uh, for an unusually long amount of time for a railroad of its type, we'll probably see the end of steam by the early 60s. Um, should I install Trainz 2022 even though that update that did messed up the game? What are your thoughts? I mean, I would go with 2022 over any other available version right now. Um, I understand that there's an update out that's causing problems, but I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't really get everything. Uh, but at any rate, uh, sorry, my mind just wandered. What was I saying? Yeah. I haven't updated the most recent version of Trainz 2022, but of all the trains out there, of all the possible versions that are available, I would start with the newest one, especially because I don't have it via Steam. I don't have it via Steam either. But yeah, especially because it's the one that's going to be supported for longest. If you're starting a big project, and big dem roots are big projects, uh, if you're starting a big project, doing it on whatever the most recent version is probably prudent. Um, unless there's a very specific reason why you'd want to stick with an older version, like you know that you need certain things that aren't available in newer versions, and Trainz is pretty darn good with backwards compatibility, so uh, you're probably better off going to 2022. Yeah, I don't know what the difference is with the Steam version. What I would say is, Trainz, like as a program, feels like it has a half-life. I would always make lots of CDP backups, put them somewhere safe, put them on a different drive, stick a couple on your Google Drive or something, and then if you need to go back to them, then go back to them. You're probably going to need them. You're probably going to want to use them, and you know, if you need to reinstall the game, find the instructions for transferring your content from one installation to another, and go from there. More often than not, your installation might cock up, but your content should be fine. I just, there's a lot of ways around stuff. I have never lost a route to Trainz having a complete conniption aside, like, since Geiger Mountains, basically. I mean, I don't have the Tamarol's Veil and Anaconda anymore, but what are you going to do? Do I think the T1 will break the speed record? I think it could. I think it could. And that's the important part for me right now. I think them getting it done, and I know I've talked about, like, wanting to do this holistically, right? I've talked about on the podcast, I've talked about how if you're building a locomotive or if you're restoring a locomotive, you want to know what you're going to do with it long before you're done, right? Oh shoot. Sorry, I forgot. I need to set the filters, ground height, none, texture, overwrite, meshes, overwrite, splines, none, effect layers, none. You're going to want to know what you're going to do with it before you even really start restoring it. Like, you want to have that plan laid out. You want to figure out your funding and everything like that in advance. In advance as you can. Now, that's not always possible. I do know that the T1 has sort of letters of marque from the Cuyahoga, from Steamtown, and from Strasbourg. I don't really know how it would fare in most of those places. I know the Cuyahoga would probably give it enough space to stretch its legs, but maybe not enough. It wouldn't be able to do much in terms of speed. I would imagine that running on Steamtown over the DL would be similar. I don't think their track speed is particularly high. And Strasbourg, I feel like, presents a whole bunch of weird problems that we saw when it came to 611 being there. What they had to deal with in terms of what that was, in terms of what Strasbourg was capable of hosting, what that railroad was capable of without, just like functionally, like physically breaking down. So I don't know if any of those places are going to be a really great fit for the T1. I would imagine the T1 will probably end up hanging out somewhere for a while, like 611. And what it's going to want to do is get out on the main line and go nuts, like 261 or something. 261, 4449, even 765, although 765 is a little bit more at home, running slower and off the beaten path a little bit. But when it comes to the speed record, that's a very specific question. And it all has to do with how much clout do people that care about the T1 breaking the speed record have with the requisite organizations? How much pull do they have with the FRA? How much pull do they have with the people who run the TTC? 265. Did I say 265? I meant 261. I think I mixed up 265 and sorry, I mixed up 261 and 765. 765 is the one I meant to mention later. Uh, whatever. No, 261 the Milwaukee Northern and 765 765. 261 wants to get out and run. 765 also wants to do that, but seems to be reasonably at home on a short line, going to Cuyahoga every year. Not every year, but you know. I think that the T1 is capable of breaking the speed record. Genuinely, I think it is possible. I think we could see it happen. The biggest hurdles are if they're going to be allowed to. If they're going to be able to get it to the TTTC, or the TTC, TT... How many... Hold on. It's TTC, sorry. If they're going to be able to get it to the TTC, if they're going to be able to get the permissions or whatever the hell they need to cut and run, you know, to punch it, to warp me, to engage the core. Sorry, I just finished watching Lower Decks, like, earlier in the week. Hi, East. Sorry to interrupt your music listening experience. Want a break from the ads? Do I just grab a block and put it over here? Can I do that? I don't feel like we have a generic enough block to do that. Like, seriously, I don't think we have one. Nor do we have one that's the right size. So, I don't know. I honestly think it's a coin flip. I'd like to be optimistic and say that, yeah, no, like, it's being built, it's gonna be there. If they are gonna push for it, they're gonna get it. Like, theoretically, nothing really stands in the way of the T1 doing that. But on the flip side, I can't imagine what the permitting process is like for something like that. I can't imagine what kind of pain in the neck it's going to be to, well, on the one hand, merely get it out there under the guise of, yeah, we are going to, you know, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're here. And just to be allowed to do that, to be able to do that. I don't know if that place is too busy to the point where it would ever be a problem for someone to want to test their locomotive there. I mean, it's not like we have people testing stuff there all the time. So what does that tell you? Like, we don't hear about this thing went to the TTCC and did this. This thing went over there and did this. They just kind of exist, and we know of their existence. So, I don't know. As far as OpenTTD goes, I have changed the settings a lot. To the point where I kind of ditched my old plan, and I'm now doing something completely different. I've effectively turned OpenTTD into some kind of idle game. Well, that's kind of a cool one. Let's do that. So, we will see... Like, we will see what my final results of that are. I haven't messed with OpenTTD properly in a little bit. It's been a minute. There are a lot of things on my plate, and OpenTTD is kind of on the back burner, and I'm not too happy with that because, it was a fun project, and I don't feel like it's necessarily reached its conclusion. I've actually reached a point where this house has no doors. I've reached a point where I feel like a lot more testing is required, but I just don't have the time to do that, and I don't really have the energy to try to set it up and just see how people are feeling about it. Because I don't have the energy to dissect what the problems are and then make changes. This is going to be a very British-looking block. Well, we can do this like brown farmhouse. Why not? Anyway, do you think the Berkshire could have been faster and stronger, faster than 70 mile an hour? Like express speeds clearly goes faster than 70 without the flux capacitor, the Polar Express. I mean, okay. Well, to wrap up the OpenTTD topic, I don't have a set of the settings that we previously used, like, on hand. There might be something kicking around somewhere, but I would not be able to just send it to you. And there were issues with that. I wasn't exactly totally happy with it, so I can't say, like, here, you want this. I downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. I tailored it, and I, set it to the 10, daylight factor of 10. Day-length factor of 10. Now, that is kind of unhelpful for me to say, because things have changed a lot with how day-length factor works. And things have changed a lot with how the economy scaling works with respect and costs with respect to day-length factor. There's a lot going on. There's been a lot that's happened with OpenTTD. So I can't be much of an authority on it right now, and I don't have the energy to dive back in. I spent a lot of time working on Merger Mania, with the help of Easton Bender and some other folks. And that's still not a complete project, so I can't really step off to do something else. I would love to get back to OpenTTD meddling at some point soon. But yeah, there are other things that are in the way of that. Now, Berks as express engines is, I mean, it's not the worst. It is. They're decent, but they're limited by the fact that they don't have a 2-axle pony truck. Having a pony truck is a great place to start when it comes to stability at speed. Having 2 axles up there is better. And if you don't have that, then you're going to be less stable at speed. And if you're less stable at speed, it means you can't maintain high speeds quite as easily or quite as, obviously, safely. That's not a problem that you want to have. And I'll come back to that because I want to touch on OpenTTD one more time regarding the AI. The AI does not know how to handle what I've made. I messed with throwing a lot of AIs in there, and it's the ones that can figure out like one system that end up doing way, way better than the others. It's not really a contest. Yeah, I was disappointed. I had a bunch of watch what they do sort of sessions. But yeah, they do not know what to do with the higher day length factor, and so they just end up going bankrupt. Anyway, so I'm sorry if that's disappointing. Yeah, no, a Berk's best characteristic is that, as far as I understand, is that you can get all the steam whenever you want it. Berkshire types are renowned for being direct upgrades over Mikados, insofar as they are free steaming. You have a very large firebox. You don't have to worry about a situation where you are not able to keep up with steam production, or your production is not able to keep up with consumption, and so you have to stop and build back up steam before you can keep going. This was the reality that the Boston and Albany faced, and that's what drove them to go and order the first Berkshire. Where do I go? Where do I go from that? So the first Berkshire was out there. It was making waves by being able to haul these trains up the mountains without pausing to take a breath, basically. And that is fine for passenger engines if you have a mountainous railroad. You might not see that too much in the US because we went pretty quickly to northerns, which are pretty much the most capable all-rounders that steam railroading has ever produced. But in other countries, you would see it more often, more frequently. You would see, I mean, there's a famously, it's a Burke at the head of the train in Murder on the Orient Express. Isn't that right? Murder on the Orient Express. And that does, you know, that shows you that these engines, these types, can make it in express service under the right circumstances, where other locomotives fall short, where you need to be able to put all that power down. And a mountain type does that well enough. Mountain type is a little bit more geared for speed, but probably doesn't have the size of Firebox, might not be able to keep up with steam production in the same way that a Berkshire could, but has a higher top speed because it's got two axles up front. And now you're probably seeing why Northerns are so effective at being speedy, strong general-purpose engines. How about Murder on the Polar Express? Well, that's what happens when you don't have a ticket. They'll slow down, but they'll never stop. I'm taking another sip of the drink. Under Construction is not sponsored by Yacht Club Soda. But if you're ever in Rhode Island, check them out. Okay. So, I think I want, like, an opaque fence. Let me see if I can find a fence we haven't used yet. Fence. Yeah, nothing fancy. I think the wooden stuff is too much. Honestly, maybe we need more of a wall instead of a fence. I'm not sure. When you mentioned mountains, I thought the Mohawk that wouldn't quit. Yeah, and that's, I mean, famous story of a mountain type. I think that, and I do need to read that story someday. Okay, yeah, this is like a perfectly commercial wooden fence. I do think that if you were to take the two of them, if you were to take average mountain and average Burke, your Burks are going to do a little bit better when it comes to working at tonnage on difficult terrain. But your mountain types are going to do better when you are working below tonnage and one of your more pressing needs is to keep up the speed. Fast for a Berkshire can be like 45. It's not necessarily fast. Fast for a mountain type, you can get a mountain type that'll do, you know, that'll do track speed easy. That'll go 80 miles an hour or more. Because you could throw bigger drivers on mountain types, because mountain types, you might not be working at tonnage all the time. That's not what they're there for. They're not there to pull the most of everything, which is a little bit, you know, it's contrary to what you see a lot of mountains doing. But oftentimes, you see mountain types in scenarios where a Burke would be able to do the same job but slower. The New Haven's R3s are a half-decent example of this, in my understanding of them, and I've learned quite a bit about them lately. The New Haven R3s are pretty beastly. They are 3-cylinder mountains. They were kind of the top of the line freight engine for the New Haven. Um, but that, hey Pat, uh, that doesn't necessarily mean they would beat out a Berkshire on a Berkshire's turf, but it means that on the New Haven's railroad, where the grades are relatively light, where the um, trains are not crazy, crazy long, but they are pretty darn long, and your railroad is, you know, at capacity. So you want to run more long trains instead of fewer short trains. Uh, for a given tonnage, two long trains are much more difficult to deal with than, or sorry, two short trains are much more difficult to deal with than one long train. Also, you're paying more in crews. Hello, Yankee. Um, but I'm gonna actually do something goofy with this fence. I'm gonna go this way. Okay, like that. Actually, let's pull this back to here. Why not? Um, and then we'll tie off the fence to the house here. Um, yeah, and this is not what I'm saying is not necessarily backed up by me going out and doing a whole lot of data gathering on these different kinds of locomotives, but it's an interesting compare and contrast. What the mountain type is best at versus what the uh, Berkshire type is best at. 286 with 3-cylinder, 286 4-cylinder. Okay, what about it? You've named a lot of wheel arrangements that were, for the most part, not used. I mean, you could get into the hypotheticals all you want. I don't know if having 3 axles up front would necessarily be much of a boon for an engine. The only time that we ever really see that is when you have weight restrictions. Oh, B&A Berks yesterday announced from BLI. That's cool. I'm back. I waited an hour in the cold and NS local. Literally turned up around 3 feet in front of me. I can't make this up. Glad you found it. Excuse me. So yeah, we don't usually see a 6-axle truck aside from when you have weight restrictions. Or 6 axles anywhere. 6 axles up front, 6 axles in the back. There are a couple of times where you have them both, and they're almost exclusively PRR. The PRR S1 and S2 both had 6-axle trucks up front and in the back because they were enormous and very, very heavy. The foam pit is fine to post finished pictures, yeah. At least you get to see the Train Street. The best memories are captured through the eye. Okay. We're not playing by old internet rules. I'm not going by picture didn't happen. I believe you saw the train. Let's do a chain link fence over here. All right. Yeah, and we'll do a rusty one too. Okay, so we're gonna lower this one into the ground. I'll do that in Surveyor 2 because that'll make my life a little bit easier. Yeah, so you have the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Cramptons, and that's kind of the only time you see 6 axles anywhere. And I'm gonna go and check the wheel arrangement classification. Oh right, no, there's another exception to that, and that is tank engines, bogies in particular. The Engerth is an 040 plus 6. I need to go through and fix all the the non Mason Bogey type names, but the Mason Bogies, they had a lot of six at the end because you're carrying your fuel and water back there. Um, Pat, listen, you've got a lot of great takes when it comes to sports. I'm bummed that it doesn't carry through to railroads. But nobody's perfect. Some people I know are Jets fans. Um, just kidding. I think I know one or two of those. There are no Jets fans. They're basically a cryptid. Uh, okay. Let's do driveway over here. Let's do driveway. Let's do concrete pad for driveway. Ooh, N&W hopper. That sounds like a cool catch. Okay. Let's do. What of you to assume the Jets have fans or exist? Well, yeah. I mean, well, we know they exist. We flattened them twice a year for 2 decades. Um, and I did lay my eyes on the Jets at a football game not too long ago, only a couple of years ago now, or I guess it was last year. Bill Belichick's very last game as coach of the New England Patriots. I had the pleasure of being there in the snow for 3 hours, and I have never been colder in my life. I thought I was going to die. Um, I really I don't regret going, not for a second. I'm really, really glad I got to go. That was just an airport, yeah. Um, I don't know anything about sports who are the Jets. They are the New York team, or one of the two New York teams that plays in New Jersey. Um, they share a division with the Patriots, and for a long time, because of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, they would just get flattened by us twice a year. Um, But yeah, no, that was freezing cold. I think I felt like I was gonna die when I got back on the train because I took the train to the game because I'm a real one like that. Um, I was honestly physically stiff. Like I was having trouble moving. I was having trouble walking across the parking lot. Um, it was a great time. I don't want to do it again. It's there's things like there's things that I've done in my life that I absolutely do not regret, but also, boy, would it take some convincing to get me to do that again. East, if you're still listening, one of those things is hiking up Mount Washington. I would do it if I had a friend or friends that said, hell yeah, I want to do this. Like, for sure, I want to do this. I'm not taking it upon myself to scratch that off my bucket list a second time. It's been done. Same thing with going to a snow game. I'd scratch that off my bucket list that day when the Jets officially ended the dynasty, um, and like I'm good now. I'm good. I witnessed that. I was there for it. I got to huddle under a blanket and eat warm, overpriced food from the concession stand while the snow was falling down for hours. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. No, not again. Not again. Done. Done with that. At least Jets fans, assuming they exist, aren't Cowboys fans. Well, listen. The Jets are a unique kind of suffering. The Jets have a way of taking people who are legends and turning them into incompetent fools. Um, Now, I would never say Jets fans deserve to suffer. I would never say that Jets fans deserve to suffer, unlike Cowboys fans, who are just misguided because they're not It's not the Cowboys are not America's team. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. Um, but Jets fans should know what they signed up for. I don't think they're ever going to be relevant. And in fact, I really hope they're not. Not because, as a Patriots fan, I must dislike the Jets and all that they stand for, but because it's funnier that way. Because somebody has to be the bottom, like, the bottom feeder of the National Football League, and if it's anyone, it's funniest when it's somebody who literally shares a market with the people who beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl twice. Like, if you're going to pick a New York sports team, if you're going to pick a New York City NFL team, just pick the Giants. Like, they're both terrible, but pick the Giants. Uh, I mean, if you wanted to root for Aaron Rodgers, uh, also a Rams fan, if you wanted to root for Aaron Rodgers, you had plenty of time to do that while he was in thing. And, like, I spent the entire season rooting for him, too. Rooting for him to give up in the middle of a football game and walk off the field. Like, retire in the middle of a game. Like, just in the middle of the second quarter. Like, throw a pick six and just leave the stadium and never come back. I thought that would have been the funniest thing in the world. I would have given... I mean, not very much, because I don't really care. This is mostly performative. It's sports. I love all sports fans. I love all sports teams. Like, genuinely. Like, to put all that aside, I like sports. I like watching people play at the top of their game. It's like watching the Olympics, you know. I'm, like, there's a bit of national pride when the U.S. gets gold medals. But, like, if you're watching the Olympics, you're there to watch the best people on earth at doing a specific thing. And because the NFL hasn't expanded beyond the bounds of the United States, pretty much, those are the best people in the world doing that thing right there every Sunday. Well, every Sunday starting, after the summer. I'm not antsy at all. I just need football to come back. Anyway, we did one more block. We did one more block in all that rambling. We got an hour. We did this, and we did like two other little things. Anyway, that's the NFL tangent for this week. Don't take your R.C. Thomas to place. Okay. So this. This has got to be all forest, right? Is what I said. Or at least mostly fallow? And then this has got to go where? Because this is going up. So does that mean this has to, like, hook a left? Or should I have it hook a right? And run this way. And then run underneath this. Because what makes sense here? Now, I don't necessarily think we should be building this out right now. Because this is getting into the territory of we're going to need to build in this direction. We're going to need to build to a town that's way out there somewhere. So, what do we do with this? Let's lower the radius a little bit. If we go this way, and then in here, and then maybe... Okay, hold on, we need the map. I need to see which way this has to go. Which way this can go, So if we whip out the map, give me just a second to find it. Maps, that's the Horseman maps. Maps, Tollbrand, PDF. So, excuse me. Because this river needs to not get too close to this river, because we don't do river splitting here. That's not how, like, water works. Our nearest river is over there, and we do have, I think, if I remember right, there's a rise between these two. You sort of come down into the valley. It's very subtle, but this bridge is your low point, and then it goes back up. Yeah, you can see it sort of curving up there. And then it reaches a high point, and then it comes back down into Bellington. It's very subtle, but it's there. if I remember right, because that's how like stuff works. Um, all right, now don't install the update to paint.net, please. So if we look at okay, okay, so here's what we're doing. Let me throw my screen up really quick. Here's what we're doing. If we are here and we're tracing one warm line through a land that's wild and savage, um, a river that's going like this way. Even if it comes all the way up here, it has to end somewhere over here. Like we need to put the headwaters in this vicinity, because of this river right here, which means that this is uphill, and this is also uphill, which means that there's like a mini continental divide somewhere in this area here. Um, so because if this was all downhill in this direction, well, from right here maybe it could be, but water's going to flow downhill, right? So if the high point is here, then the water's going to go that way, and the water's going to go that way. If the high point is, why am I not doing this on the top layer? If the high point is here, then this is going to be a very steep descent, and there's going to be a river that flows down that way, which, whatever, that's exactly what it is. It's just a question of how far up does this river go, because it can't go all the way to here, because if these two connected, well, one of these directions has to be the lower one, and the river's just going to go in that direction. Now, you could, in theory, reorient this river and say that, well, actually, this one's going to come this way, and it's going to follow the railroad all the way down. You could also say that, like, hey, you've got this river, why didn't the railroad come up the river to get to Appleton here instead of peeling off at Bellington? Because they had facilities here. It made sense for them to start here, and they figured, well, instead of going this way and paralleling our right-of-way, we can go this way through this valley up to a high point, which again is probably going to be around here somewhere, and then come downhill to this river valley where Appleton is. Now, this is making me realize that I'm definitely going to have to do all of this as one thing. The reason for that is because I need to know the height of Appleton before I start laying track up this way. Or at least I'm going to need to have to figure that out. Now, whenever two things connect, whenever you're building at something in two different directions, and this applies to stuff like this, but it really applies to this section here, between Appleton and the unnamed town. When you're building from two different directions, you need to be careful about putting in gradient, because you don't want to get I'm gonna have to answer that text. Yes, I should be. I'm gonna be at the ops session on Sunday at the PN. That was our treasurer. You don't want to end up with this being way too high, and then you have to build something really, really wacky to get down to the level of this, or vice versa. This is already reasonably high, but because the high point is like here, right? Like right here. You can see that better with white. Because that's the high point, and then you're heading downhill on this side. Those arrows don't make any sense, but whatever. You get me. You come up to Lionhead here, and then you punch through the mountain on a tunnel, and you come downhill fairly steeply to the bridge. And then you're going to go back uphill this way. Mostly because you need to meet this, which would be maybe not flat, but something in the area of kind of flat. And because you're still going uphill, because you have to get all the way uphill, because you have to get to summit. It's going to be a straight climb. It's I would imagine that, uh, and let's color code this, if we can. This is all going to be uphill, and this is basically all going to be downhill, because you see you're with the river here, you know, and this river is flowing from this area down, down, past Appleton, down, and we cross it here, which is, you know, in the route, which is, that's this river right here, the Road River. Um, and that's going to be down, and then I assume it's going to be up just a little bit out of Appleton, and then it's going to be down again, down to South Bellington. We just have to make sure that when we build this, and I think we should build this part first, with all this in mind, that when we build this, we don't get too high, so that this section doesn't end up being prohibitively steep, you know? So that it doesn't end up being a tremendous pain in the butt to build. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about right now. In case anyone was curious. I can turn off not Tetris as well. There we go. I missed it. What's today's soda flavor? Oh yeah, soda flavor. We've got the pale dry ginger ale. That's what it is today. And there's my baby. Oh, thank you. I forgot this was coming today. This is the other piece of my television. I hope it fixes it, because at this point I've spent like $50. And these days you can buy a TV for a handshake and a ham sandwich. Needs more cog. Yeah, no, I don't want to have to do anything crazy. I don't want to have to do any switchbacks. I don't want to have to do any loops. I don't want to have to do anything over like 1.5%. Although I could see maybe a 2% here and there somewhere. It's not supposed to be easy going. The other thing is, you don't really necessarily want to have your high point be too low, because then you really got to contrive a situation where you can, where you have to put the grade on heavy, you know? It's a balance. It's a balance, and it's going to be interesting when we get there. Okay. What to do next? I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to need to get back in the groove of suburbs, and I'm going to be, you know, pushing myself to do a little bit every episode. But it's 20 past 8 already, so we're already almost halfway through this episode, and I have not done a whole lot but speculate about what we're going to do in the future. That's not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is. Any progress is progress. Okay, so what should I do? I do need to connect all this up. I need to get this area done. I think this area is going to be pretty straightforward suburbs, nothing too crazy. And we should probably have some commercial buildings along this stretch here. Now, I don't necessarily know what all this looks like, where it came from, what was here before, the order that things appeared in this world. And that is something that's important to figure out, I think. So, let's think about it for a second. If I can get past the female moose. I saw that when I just scrolled by. Oh, this is cool. That's cute. Should use that somewhere. Beware of trains. And it's even got, I assume these are like string lights? They look like little lights. I wonder if that has a night mode. Write some lore for the baseball team here. Oh, you're welcome to do that. That would be cool. That is a hell of a building. Does it make both kinds of general goods? Yeah, we'd have to fix that. This can maybe go over here. I'll stick it down at the other end of the yard, and we'll figure out what we can do with it. Worry about that later. I don't really want factories. I think I want commercial buildings. And here we have, like, this, which is like a big merchandise company. Not sure what it would be, but it would be something. What is this? Factory very large. It's not that large. It's reasonably large. It's not bad. I've heard it's more how you use it. Yeah. So let's think about this road here. I mean, the first road was this one, which is, since been rerouted and goes to there. This road right here would have probably been some kind of extension of the coast road that, that connects to this, and I would imagine it would kind of plug in over here. There's even an intersection that I can think of that reminds me of this. So let's jump into Surveyor 2, because this is actually useful. If I extend this road out in a dead straight line, where does it go? It goes to there. If I extend this road out in a dead straight line, where does it go? Sometimes you have to learn from what you've done before. It crosses there, which is interesting. If you were to draw a line between this intersection and this intersection, it would cross the river about here, but our bridge is over here. Excuse me. And it doesn't really make sense to have two bridges. So what I might want to do is do this, pull it back to there, yeah, okay, now this is, I'll get to the street running thing in a second. This is not ideal. It just doesn't line up very well. If you were to extend this out, it would cross the river at an oblique angle. You don't want to do that. And then these two coming together, I'm just not digging it. What I want to do is connect. No. There we go. What I want to do is connect this road here with this road here. What did I just grab? No, I want this. Thank you. That. But to answer the question in short, it does have street running, and it will have more. So the thing is, this would be a relatively new section of road, because it's sort of a shortcut to getting from town, getting from this area, to crossing the river, right and left, and getting on the coast road-ish, which is this road here, which goes out here and then takes a left and crosses this river somewhere over there, and then comes in here, and then you can take a left and go that way, and follow the railroad. Like, if you were following this road, and you were trying to get to, Bellington, South Bellington, you come over here, you take a right, take a left off screen, come this way, and you come down here, and then you get the left here, to go in to get on the highway and go into South Bellington. Hello, Orion. Or if you're going into Bellington proper, you can either come down here and then take a right and then go that way, or you could cross this here. Now, part of me really wants to make this a little bit more accessible, because this honestly just straight up sucks. But I think the best I can do is a very bad intersection. I'll just leave it with that. It's a bad intersection. This sucks. This is not good. The angles are atrocious, and putting a signal here would blow, because these two approaches don't line up at all. Putting a stop sign here would be even worse, because like people are gonna just run it and effing die. But back in these days, doing traffic calming with geometry was not the most exact science in the world. The other thing is, this doesn't go anywhere anymore. This is a crossing that I don't intend to complete, or to re-complete. You're going to have to come in this way anyway, and then take a right, and then a left. So a lot of these roads just aren't very helpful. So what I might do then, what does it look like if I just extend this out in a straight line in that direction? Okay, we're going to slam into the side of the yard here. Huh. That's not great. What if I have a reason for this cutoff here? Well, no, I said the reason, we got to build a hill over here, right? Like I mentioned about that. We got to build a hill over there. If I were to add a road going this way, parallel to this track, which I don't think that's parallel. Also, yeah, the New Shoreham Tramway does have a lot of cool street running. Oh wait, no. New Shoreham Tramway is the one with all the street running and a funky logo. There will probably be plenty of opportunities for the New Shoreham Tramway to street run. I don't have a ton of that planned, but I don't really have much of the NST planned in general, because A, it's really far away, and 2, it's something that's going to be so dependent on other things, where I stick it, that I cannot think that far ahead. Alright, so let's do that, and then let's do that. Okay. And where will these roads connect? If I take... Where'd it go? There it is. If I take this and whee out here, I take this. Nope. Come on. Take this. And whee! Who got a mystery box? Oh, Ryan got a scale train. Waiting for my second Walther's mystery box. Cool. Let's go gambling! I'm waiting for everything else that's going on to calm down so that I can do local games and trading cards again. But, like, I've got a couple things waiting in the wings, and I'm just so hesitant to pile more on top of myself. Okay, and then this street would have come out, like, right there. Okay. We're going to Twin River. Oh, wait, it's not called that anymore. What is it called now? Oh, is it Bally's Twin River? Or is it... Whatever. Straight and small. Even though I want to go to the Mohegan Sun for Krispy Kreme. Okay. So gambling is not healthy, and you should not do it if it isn't trading cards. Okay. Can I straighten this? Straighten that, and that looks a lot better. Okay. This reminds me of the roads near Selkirk Yard. Okay. Yep. All right, I'm liking this, and this area is going to be mostly fields on this side of the road. Maybe a little bit of stuff, maybe just like a very small suburb over here, but not much. Um, you could get not a 900 to 1,000 Frisco 1522s. Um, we also have the power lines, which that's another issue. Um, we actually are probably going to need to have something going that way towards Arthur's Gamble for power. Oh, and I own a railroad now. Yay, welcome to the club. Um, I've been playing a lot of Railroader. Um, I have been. Uh, here's the ballpark. It's a fairly modern park. I'm imagining it like the ballpark in Newport, Rhode Island. If you want to take any cues from that, lol. Um, I just heard Gloria answer the phone in the other room. That was funny. Um, okay, okay. Yeah, so it's a minor league size park. It's even relatively small for minor league. Uh, so we've got our community pool. We've got Budalong Pool. Um, we've got some stuff going on over here. We have roads that go to nowhere. Actually, let's extend this one out to over here. Insert spline point. I'm going to insert another spline point right here. And do that. Now that's separated and disconnected and whatever. So highly trained professional doesn't need to hear this. Huh? Batch 5 of the trading cards. Yeah, no, I listen. I want batch 5. I want to work on batch 5, but there's a thing that I can't talk about regarding the trading cards hanging over me. And the deadline for that is getting closer and closer. I don't have any information about it. I got asked to do a thing with the cards, and I'm waiting for a response, and I know it's going to be a big thing on a short timeline, and I know when the deadline is, but I don't have any of the info yet. So I'm not, like, if it weren't for that, I would be doing the bracket right now. I'd be doing batch 5 right now. And, hunky dory. We'd be on our way, but I can't. Instead of a Godspeed Orion. Instead, I've got I've got my thing of mediocre ginger ale and a bristling hatred for Appalachian hardwoods. Uh, the thing that made me stop feeling like playing Railroader for a little while, because I have been doing lots of Railroader in my spare time to sort of make sure everything in my mod pack works, and what spare time I have, and I just the last thing I have to do in the day that I'm on, which is like day 15, is Appalachian hardwoods. And I don't like switching that place out. I gave up. I didn't feel like it. I decided to stop. Um, what is this? Oh. Okay. Let me extra large 2. That's a log. Okay, that's a log. Or TS12. I broke my railroader the other day installing the D10 mod. How? Um, there is no good way to switch that place. Second worst. What do you say is the worst? I'm curious. Because I haven't done too much switching in Railroader, like, overall. Even in my save, I just have Halarka Junction to East Whittier. So, I don't have a ton of switching. Um, Most of my money comes from Robinson. Dillsboro. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I get it. Yeah. Yep. Um, Whenever I install the D10 mod, my Unity mod manager just aged for some reason. Well, that's not great. Uh, Delete and reinstall everything. Did you reinstall did you reinstall the D10 and did it work the second time around? I have the D10. I haven't purchased one yet. Um, I think it's going to be my next one, but all of my stuff has been, wow, that's tall. Uh, I think, so all of my stuff has been fairly thoroughly customized because I have the Mac CJane stuff. Um, and okay, let's do that. Wanted to steal MUSD 10. Uh, but yeah, I have the Mac CJane customization stuff. Very cool. Do recommend. Um, Even if it's just a fluff mod that doesn't really change much about the game. Some of the best mods out there are fluff mods, I'll be honest. The tender swaps and customizations are really cool, and oh my god, the realistic freight cars, oh yeah, that's fantastic. That might be my favorite mod right now. It was a little bit finicky for me as well. Um, oh, this is cool. This is one of those things that would definitely be in like along a railroad because look at the shape of it. But let's see. I was just being told about the Burke. That is very cool. Mm, okay. Maybe I'll just angle this like this and just call the loading dock what it is. Although, like I said, I don't really want industrial stuff along here. I want commercial stuff. Having so send the realistic freight car mod. Yeah, I can send it. It also has like 5 prerequisites, so that's part of it. It's kind of a pain. I think it's worth it though. I'm also not sure what it's incompatible with. I assume it's only compatible with experimental mode. I also would imagine. Um, I also would imagine that it may not be compatible with some rail loader stuff. Um, but you'd have to read the description. You'd have to read the description. I mean, I'm more than happy to just like page through it because it's a really really cool mod. Like I said, um, I really wish this was not a right angle. Like, damn, way to get me. Wait a minute, I have an idea. Um, the gold socks. That'd be interesting. How about the lime socks? Um, Lime socks they would because the big concrete plant in this town would have a history doing limestone quarrying, or at least the hills nearby would be big for that. Just a thought. Uh, and you could get the lime color instead of the red color. Oh hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say I'm the king of kit bashing, but oh shoot. All right, no, we've got to tuck that all the way in. Yeah, okay. No, go all the way in like that. There we go. And this corner, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to live with it. It doesn't look that bad. Um, because you said Gold Sox, Pat, and I do think that's like a great name for a baseball team, but it'd be a great name for a baseball team, in the Colorado Rockies, in some place where they actually mine gold, and here ain't that place. I always think there's value to having meaning in everything you create as a world builder. Uh, and that doesn't necessarily mean go full English teacher on everything, although I certainly wouldn't knock anyone for trying. Uh, because, enriched work is always good. But like, you don't have to do everything, but find a reason for like leave nothing without some degree of thought to it. Leave nothing without some amount of, well, it's this because of this, maybe. Um, you don't even have to be certain about it in the lore. You can say that, well, legend says. Uh, you know, you can get away with a lot. Um, I have a few Railloader whistle mods installed. I don't like Railloader. Yeah, I mean, I don't either. Um, too much faff. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Uh, do you have your own railroad for this route? As in, does the route lore have unique railroads? Like it's not real life railroads. Is that what you're asking? Because yes, I actually have several. I started out with 4, and now I have like 7. Um, I have quite a few. I may have got a little carried away actually, um, but it is what it is. I actually quite like the assemblage of railroads. Uh, right here in town we have the Class 1 Gilson Eastern Railroad, which is the 4-tracker. I want to put one on the 286. You could do Zion Skyline. Zion and Skyline. That's a good one for a 286. They are a railroad that would probably make use of that. Um, oh, something to do with the wheat in the area. Oh, right, because golden. Yeah, okay, okay. That's a cool take on using gold as a thing. Yeah, Zion and Skyline. Let's see if I have anything of theirs. Um, nope. Z and I do. I have a gondola. I'm just gonna throw this down in the yard here. Zion and Skyline, spelled just like that. And this is their logo in a few pixels. Um, anyway, this actually should be on the. Oh wait, these probably are both on the seed layer now because I coupled one together. Yep. These are good gons. I appreciate whoever made them. 773367. I appreciate you. We've got the Class 1 Gilson and Eastern. We've also got the Class 2 Mansfield Branch Railroad. Okay. Now what to do for this? I mean, I think we do more 3-deckers, at least on this stretch in between the corners. Or we do a bunch of smaller commercial buildings, maybe like a laundromat, or maybe like this. And this area feels kind of slummy. I don't really know what to say about that. That's just the way it feels to me. You're stuck right in here near, near all the mills. Maybe the mascot can be like a cement truck. Lime Sox or whatever it'll be called will be the AA team of the team in Gilson City. Yeah, that would make sense. I don't know where I would put the AAA team. Maybe in like Wombeck or something. Wombeck is shaping up to be a pretty big place. It's probably going to be the very last thing I build on this railroad. or at least one of the last. Wombeck is the southernmost town on the peninsula. It's at the base of the peninsula. It is where the oil refinery is and the chemical plants are. Um, it is going to be an interesting place to build because I have no idea how any of that stuff looks. I have no idea how it works. I have no idea about any of it. What is this? Oh, okay. I thought these were platforms. They're parking spaces. This is like South Attleboro. Um, South Attleboro, if it was good. What is this? Oh, it's a little station. It's a little, like, Italian station. This is adorable. Look at all the bikes. You get a bike rack. We're in all the stations. I don't want stations. I want like, you know, commercial building. Is your computer a NASA computer or something? Oh God, no. My computer is a disaster. My computer, like, the case of my computer is right here, and I'm gonna stick my hand right in because there's nothing here. There's nothing, like, it's open, and I can stick my head in here, and I can see two hard drives that have like tens of thousands of hours on them that desperately need to be replaced. They are crying out for replacement. A GeForce GTX 1070, which was cool when I got it. It was still secondhand then, but it was cool, and now, boy, I'm barely hanging on. And I don't even know where that processor is from. This motherboard is from like a commercial machine, and I wrecked the first one. I had to order an identical copy, and it doesn't have any of the plugs. Like the power button on the case doesn't do anything. Half of the USB ports don't work. The power button that I use is just literally on a wire hanging out the side of the case. I have 24 gigs of RAM because I have 2 sticks of 8 and 2 sticks of 4. Alright, I don't need the beach people. Oh, this is cute. That's big, but it's cute. It's not that big, actually. I really don't know what to do with these corners. I think I should use this somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. Oh, these are nice houses. No, not 8 terabytes. I've got 8 gig and 4 gig sticks in there. I ordered some new 8 terabyte hard drives from Seagate. They never showed up. Eventually, I got a notification that Seagate is not, like, they're shutting down their entire online store because of problems with their payment processor. So screw it. You know, I gave up on that. I got my refund. I went to Amazon. Not great. I don't love buying stuff off Amazon. But when it comes to computer parts, you don't have too many options these days. And I bought some hard drives from Western Digital. All right, see you, Train Street. I bought some hard drives from Western Digital. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. Like, they're coming from Amazon. There's no way this can be a problem. They never showed up either. Eventually, I got an email saying that they were damaged in transit and that I was going to get a refund. That was like 2 weeks ago. Still no refund to be found. Still, didn't see anything either. Like nothing showed up. So now I'm 0 for 2 when it comes to buying hard drives, and I don't know what to do because until I get my refund back, I don't want to spend that money again. Like, I can't just go chucking money at the wall, and I don't know when the hell I'm going to get the refund back because Amazon is like, yeah, we're just waiting for it to be returned to us, and I never saw it. Like, I never laid eyes on it, so I'm not the weakest link here. They're not waiting for me. But I don't know what to do. I don't know how to expedite this process. I know if I try to get on the horn with, Best Buy is not that much better. I could go to Best Buy, once I get my money. I don't know how to expedite this process. I'm gonna, call up Amazon and talk to a computer that doesn't know what the hell's going on. No, we have Best Buy here. I just haven't been to one in a while. They're usually pretty pricey. They're not bad, but they are what they are. Um, Alright, I think I'm going to chain link fence off the back of this and put some stuff, like put some either three-deckers or something on the side street here. Yeah, we'll leave that open. Yeah, there we go. Can you or someone send the logo of the Zion and Skyline? Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Profile. I honestly, I don't know where it is. I don't know if I even have it on this computer. I don't. I have the Gilson Eastern logo and the New Shore Tramway logo. I don't know where the other one is. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the logo. Just do the name. They like cursive. Oh, they're right. They're on the drive. Um, um, I will have to go find them later. Bother me later. I forget that I threw that stuff up on Drive. Okay. They like cursive. They like script. Like the New Haven. Like look up the if you're not familiar, look up the New York, New Haven, and Hartford script logo, and they like to be fancy like that because they're a big coal hauler and they have more money than they know what to do with, which is the other reason why they are the people that would buy a 286, because like they have more money than they know what to do with. Uh, they like big steam. They use it a lot. Is there a specific road number you should use for a 286? Honestly, I have no idea. Zion Skyline. What's available? They like lower numbers. I'd say go with. They have a 900 class. I don't think so. Yeah, go with 900. Probably 9 something. Their F units were like 800 to 850 in that vicinity. So like above that there should be some room. Yeah. 900 is fine. Okay, this is a weird one because this ground is not level. Just want to make sure this is all smooth out because yeah. And then this down here can also be flattened out on the lower level. And you don't really notice a lot of these subtle differences in height in real life, but they are there. Everything is there. Something else I should do is probably just take advantage of this tool for near the roadway so things don't look too weird. Yeah, those are some very kindly spaced three-deckers. And I'll put that one on the corner. Okay. Okay. So we got some buildings here. If I could fill this out sooner rather than later, that would actually be really cool. To have this whole area done. It would be a first like comprehensive area done. 990 is probably fine as well. I don't think that would be out of line. It would definitely mark them as something that the railroad was not particularly confident about. especially if they had those numbers right out of the gate. I would only need, yeah, certainly. They didn't necessarily buy a lot of anything. Okay. I'm running out of stamina and I don't know why. I don't know what to pick up to make myself want to get more done. We've got we've got a lot of stuff to do on this railroad, including like renaming and renumbering all the switch stands and redoing all the industries and signals and things like that. I'm just running out of steam. I'm not in the groove of this right now, and I don't really want to force myself. Something. All right, see you, Pat. Godspeed. Um, so these are the. This is the signal bridge over here. No, no, no. This is not the signal bridge. These are just. Where's the nearest signal bridge? Oh, it's way out here. We're gonna need a new signal bridge. We should probably do that. Here, give me this. We're also gonna need to get done some stuff over in staging at some point. I'm still not entirely sure what I want to do with that. We should probably get the iPortal stuff sorted out just in case. Um, so let's put this signal bridge here. Because what I'm thinking is, we'll have signals from both directions on this bridge, except for the far track on the left. And the reason for that is that this is going to have its own signal leading out. And this is also going to have its own signal either right up here or way back here. Probably both. In fact, we probably need one. We probably need another signal bridge right about here, for controlling access to and exit from even this interlocking. Now, something that is maybe worth considering is that this would have signals facing one direction, and then another bridge right here in front of the station would have signals facing the other direction. If you're operating this, you're operating inside the signals. That isn't actually super helpful because these switches are awfully close to the platforms here. So maybe I would put two signal bridges. I could put one right here and I could put one right here. I also need to have this tuck in somewhere. That's for express cargoes. And then, yeah, I mean, these signal blocks are probably going to be kind of long. I just need to think. I need to put my not mini metro. I need to put my rail route brain on and come up with how I would do this. I also need to consider the fact that this fourth track might not even have a platform, so I might be able to get away with hanging a signal bridge, maybe like right here, like right here, over the crossover, but have only 3 signals on this. Now that will be awkward for programming interlocking tower stuff, but I don't really think it would be that terrible. As long as we have our controlling signal here for stuff that's coming this way. Yeah, that would give us enough room to have platforms and all that jazz. But also, I probably need another signal bridge over here. And not here. despite the fact that the interlocking into there. Well, maybe I do need one like right here, but that's only for letting stuff into there and not really letting stuff through. The other thing is, there's not a lot of room here for station platforms. They're really kind of cramped. Despite the fact that this is a fairly large station, it's not equipped to handle really, really long trains. 2-cylinder solid steel pilot, a Lesco feedwater heater. Road-specific accessories. No, I would just kit it out. Throw whatever you can think of on there. Like, you know, make sure it's got all the gubbins. Power reverse, of course. Stoker, of course. You could throw a cab signal box on there. Throw extra air, extra sand. Just go bonkers. You know, it's got to be a thing. You know what? We can use this. How many coaches can we fit in front of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, well that's not too bad. You know, I mean, this is a railroad. This is a railroad that has money to burn. They would not be. They would not be like worried about spending extra money on accessories for their engines because they want them to be top of the line. Look out, it's the Jolly Green Giant. Okay. Hi, Redding. You know what green means? Green means the banana is underripe. Okay. So we'll put a signal bridge there. Also, I can't help but notice that this is Shuckwad. Something else we need to do is make a... Oh, shoot. Wait a minute. Are these not connected? Why did I... What happened here? Seriously, how did I manage that? What? Anyway. Let's throw another spline point here. There, that's better. Now it's happy. Okay. We don't have a switch stand over here. We need to have switch stands everywhere. So that we can actually use these yards in the event that I end up dicking around with trains. Okay, yeah. So between these two signal bridges... Hey, guy. Between these two signal bridges is what it is. And this is your entrance for the yard for that. And you would probably have T-side signals and not a bridge here because you don't need it. Not a signal gantry. But you have one here because you're only going to have signals on 3 sides. Oh, this is going to suck. This place is a disaster already. And then you're probably going to want one on the left here. Yeah. And then one's up here. And then one's up here. There we go. Oh, yeah. Bells, whistles, air horn, gyro light if you want. They don't strike me as the kind of railroad that would want a gyro light or a Mars light, but, you know. They do strike me as the kind of railroad that would go down the checklist of everything that you could possibly add to the locomotive. And, you know, when they go to the car dealership to buy a car, they get all the extras, you know. They get the floor mats. That Ninja Rail is growing on me. It's not as bad as I used to think it was. All right, let's add some tail tracks in places. Yeah, straight from the manufacturer, just you know, full package, deluxe options. And it leads to them hanging on to their stuff for a long time because they paid good money for those engines. They've got a lot of sunk cost in them. I need to add the tail tracks to the stub yard. Turbocharger enhancement, exactly. The box says 10 horsepower. I don't know how you have a turbocharged steam locomotive, but they check the box. Okay, let's just straighten. Nope, straighten that. Air horn and whistle. Yeah, that's dope. I'm here for that. We still need to build the coal dock here. Let me add the tail tracks off the end of the caboose tracks. And what kind of whistle? Probably like a 6. Like a really nice 6. And maybe even have a whistle shield on it too. That would be kind of a fun touch. If you're throwing all these things on like on a sketch. I could see them going for the whistle shield. Okay. Oh, we got all the tail tracks in. Oh wait, over here we need to do these. This is so that Thomas can come to breakfast. There we go. And then they could be built with easy oil conversion in mind? No. That's something they wouldn't do. That's something they wouldn't do. They are a coal hauling railroad. They are not going to want to. They're not thinking about oil conversion. They wouldn't want to do that because then it makes their fuel not free. So if there's anything they don't have, it's an easy way for third rail for train heat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the flames. We call that MBTA inspired train heat. Okay, let's do this. Let's go into Sphere 2.0 for this. Because the thing is, as soon as I think we're like really settled with how all of the industries are going to look in this area, then we can start programming them, and then we can move on to other things. What about a booster? Absolutely. New Shoreham has both. There's a lot of third rail. They're predominantly third rail, but they do have overhead electrified sections, mostly in places where they ended up with stuff from other companies. I still have the map open, so let's talk about this for a minute. So the New Shoreham tramway is all this yellow. Most of this, a lot of this is going to be third rail. This stuff, past Grand Junction, may well be or have been, this is have been, overhead electrified. The stuff on the island could have been overhead electrified, and maybe this run out to Rock Hill might have been overhead electrified too, and this is not electrified at all. Or, you know, like Gilson Union out to Rock Hill is overhead electrified. If we look at the spreadsheet, right, we can look at what these railroads had, and the New Shoreham Tramway has a smattering of stuff. And this is, you know, this is me spitballing many years ago now. But we're talking about stuff that was traditionally overhead electrified and stuff that is traditionally third rail electrified, we know that a lot of the stuff, like this area, is third rail, and the reason we know that, or maybe it's both in some places, the reason we know that is because the train that comes from Jefferson, which is up that way, and comes this way and onto their trackage and down to the port in Meridian, uh, that's got FL9s on it, so those are dual mode with the third rail. Um, so there may be areas where there's both. I would think that this the new Shoreham tramway is like the core of their system is third rail electrified, but there are areas in the extremities that are overhead electrified, and there are some areas that they have that aren't electrified at all. Um, if there's like an industry or something over here, that's gonna have to be run with a diesel because this stretch is just a cutoff. Um, I also, when I go to build, these 2 points might be much closer together. Like that. Not quite, but much closer together so that this run is not like a 10, 15 mile long stretch of railroad. It's like a couple of miles. And there might be an industry out there, maybe some sort of, I don't know, some sort of just goods factory. Um, so, remains to be seen what that all looks like. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, non-standard from NST's point of view. What about a semi-permanent attached water tender like on a Lima-Shea? Water tender plus long haul, less stops. I think they would at least have the compatibility for, or the capability for an aux tender. Because, yeah, I mean these are long hauls up in the mountains. As long as you don't burn that bridge. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because we just don't have a lot of room for stuff. And yeah, this is some of the last trackage I think we're going to put in. I think the only exception is, like I mentioned at the top of the show, an industry or two down here like this, Woods Furniture. That's something. I don't really know if this is the one we're going to use, but it might be over here. They probably wouldn't deal with a spark arrestor, at least not an external one. But they'd probably have something internal. They'd probably have like a master mechanics front end and an internal spark arrestor. Because they wouldn't have the space for that. I would imagine a locomotive like that was going to be pushing all the way up to the edge of the loading gauge. They're not going to have room for a tall stack with a big spark arrestor in the hypothetical. Okay, yeah, something I have to do is I have to go through and I have to... Okay, so these are switch motors. These are going to stay this way because this is an interlocking controlled area, so you're not going to need to be throwing switches yourself anyway. Although this one maybe not. Let's leave that the way it is. Yeah, let's set up switch motors on these because that's just the way it's going to be. But for the other stuff, in a lot of the other places, we're going to have to come up with a system for the switch stands. And I think Mason did this one already, and I might want to crib from him. But if we look at... Are there trains that can change track gauge? I think there are some, like in Spain, right? They can change track gauge while they're on the move. Yeah, this probably doesn't need to be a computerized switch. That should probably be a hand throw. This also might want to be a hand throw. I mean, there's not going to be too many times you're going to have a train pull out onto here. But also, as I've mentioned before, getting from doing a yard transfer is really really annoying in this area, and it's something I didn't even think about. It requires a reverse move basically no matter what. Um, but hey, I mean that's life sometimes. If you've got a freight in this yard here, you either snake all the way across, come over the bridge, pull in front of the station, and then back down along the highway. Use the big highway crossing, um, which I need to signal at some point, and pull into the yard here. Or you pull out onto the main, you cross over the entire main line, and you either, if you're short enough, you tuck into this track. If you're too long, you pull all the way past the signal bridge, turn around, and then pull in. Either way, tremendous, tremendous pain in the butt. So, you know, not something that anyone looks forward to, and not something that I'm sure how to signal necessarily. I mean, there absolutely have to be conventions for something like this, but I don't know what they are. Um, hmm. Again, I'm sort of stalling. I'm spinning my wheels. I'm not sure what to do to make headway here. What's the most effective thing for me to do? Let's go look at staging. We've got 45 minutes left. I'm sure we can kill this time doing something. I don't want to end it early because I've had to skip so many times lately. Anyway. So, I'm trying not to do, like, totally heinous things. Go via the old station, that way you're not hogging the entire track. Yeah, and, like, that's probably how it would be done most of the time. Are these hypothetical, or are the 990 class going to be kit bashed into Trainz for your railroad when it's done? I'm not going to ask anybody to do that. If somebody wants to do it, they can. You should do a San Juan branch line kind of series. If I had the time to do anything like that, we'd still be making the Iron Horseman Chronicles. What the heck am I looking at? Those are ties. Those are extraordinarily long ties. Look at that. Look at it. That's wacky. Okay. So we've got passenger yard and a freight yard. Oh! Oh, that's right! Oh, that's right! That's right. We were doing something special last time we were working in staging. And now I think it's time to check it out. No. Hold on. Portal. So, if I check on you... Actually, no. Let me correct myself. Let me save really quick before anything bad happens. Alright. Save that. Oh yeah, earlier I was talking about how I'm writing a thing, but honestly it's probably not relevant at this point. Ooh, you know what? I could use some Cheez-Its. Even though I stuffed my face with mac and cheese yesterday, I'm just always, I want more cheese. I want more cheese. And I suffer for it. I pay for it. But I want more cheese. Okay. The thing that I found, if I remember right, was something that... There it is. Okay. Add a new timetable. 10 o'clock. Add new timetable. What about 11? I don't know what I'm looking at. This rules enabled entry 0. Oh, entry 1. And new timetable. What if I hit 11 o'clock? No. Do I have to type it out? I do. Okay. Okay. This is cool. This is cool. Because I may not know what I'm looking at, but I know I can understand it. I know I can read it. Okay? I know that, like, this right here is going to be self-explanatory and I can make it happen. Which is way better than what we were working on before. Way better. Like, worlds better. Okay? The this over here, this disaster, right? This, I was going to have to stage a train 4 hours in advance of every single train that leaves. I was going to have a train staged, and then they would get their orders, and they would go. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. The portal can do what it's always been meant to do, which is act as a powerful off-map staging yard, as it said in the loading screens for Trainz 2006. Before, you could just get trains randomly sent to you, and you'd have to deal with that. Now, you can get trains on a schedule. This is huge. And the babes go wild. Now, that doesn't necessarily make our job easy, but it makes it easier. Now, what I built over here was this module for stuff. And I think, if I remember right, if we go into the session, and we go to NSTL. Okay, yeah, this is the loader. Okay. And we're going to need to copy this a lot. That's not great. But, you know, whatever. This is something that we're going to have to spend a lot of time on when we get to it. But right now, what it's doing is running this one thing. And I think it is possible. I think it will work. We just haven't had the chance to see if it will work yet. I probably should add stubs to both of these. At least up to there. I mean, I'm trying to keep these contained in a box, in a manner of speaking. And I do need to figure out where I'm going to put the eye portals because they're all gone. Can't do cursive. That's okay. I can't do cursive either. That way there'd be a bit more time I need to worry about less trains interacting with the portals. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's better here. The staging yard for the passenger trains is something that I thought we would have to do. And I thought we were going to have to do a staging yard for everything. But because we're getting rid of the automation how I had originally envisioned it because of Living Railroad, whenever that comes to fruition, I had earmarked all this space and all these tracks for scheduled passenger trains for the VMR and for the Gilson Eastern. You can see I sort of tried to write it in green. Excuse me. But the thing with passenger trains is all you really need is for them to show up and then for them to go and do their thing. You don't necessarily need randomness. You don't need for them to be loaded. You don't need anything other than train and schedule. With the rule, and again, I'm going to have to spend more time with this. And if I can get this all figured out, then we probably should spend some time with it. Emitting portal. No, let's hold on. Let's save these changes to get ready to do what we came here to do. All right. Let's grab portal basic. Make sure that it still works. Yes. Okay. We're going to come down here and we are going to slide all this stuff over. And oh, that's okay. Someone needs a little blue pill. I actually want to make more room for this. I don't really want to get rid of this yard. Mostly because I don't know if we're going to end up needing it, and I spent a lot of effort on it, and I don't want to just toss it. But this is going to be an incoming portal, right? And it's got to look different by something. Maybe I should use a different track type. I don't know. This area is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be decorated. There's a point. I'm also going to jump into Surveyor 2.0 so I can copy it and move it over to the right. Oh, no, that's not going to work. I forgot how these things are built. IRC Living Road is kind of in a beta, but from what I can tell, haven't really messed with it. The AI doesn't know how to couple uncouple. That's maybe the one thing it does know how to do. I spent some time with it because I was absolutely fascinated, and consider me impressed by the proof of concept, because it uses the regular old Trainz AI right now. It doesn't really know better than what you can teach it, but what it does do is it takes a look at all of the stuff that you have built, all of the industries, all of the commodities, everything that you've got, and it figures out where everything needs to go, and it figures out what cars can carry that. And then if you tell an engine, hey, you're under the command of the Living Railroad now, that engine goes and it'll find some cars and it'll pick them up and it'll take them where it needs to go, fill them up, and drop them off where they need to go. Or, well, empty them and then take them back to where they got them, actually. Like, that is impressive. And here's the other thing that I'm realizing with this, which is that now that we can have passenger portals, because this is going to be from passenger portals, what we're doing over here doesn't make sense. In fact, well, okay. I honestly think if we're going to use it, we have to make a decision to use it, which I don't trust it yet. We're going to have to experiment with it, and I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to have the time or the energy to do that. Maybe next episode, but maybe not. I want to know how it works, and once I know how it works, we can make a decision on how to arrange it. Because if we don't need a big staging yard, if we don't need everything to come together into 4 tracks to go into portals, or into 6 tracks to go into portals, if we can have 2 portals for this, and 4 portals for this, that are taking in and spitting out passenger trains, and that's that, right? Then we can just focus on the freight yard. Like, we don't have to... What does a whistle shield look like? It looks just like a piece of metal behind the whistle. Like, whistle is here, whistle shield does that behind the whistle, so that the crew is a little bit shielded from the sound. like, we can put 2 portals right here. We can put 4 portals right here, or whatever. Um, and we don't need even a set of crossovers in front of them. If they're the timetable portals, we don't need anything in front of them. Those trains need to come out of those portals, and they need to go onto the layout. They're going to be timed to the minute. They're going to say they need to be at the station at 5 past the hour. It takes them 4 minutes to get there. They're going to show up at 1 past the hour. And you can have 2 come in at the same time. You can have 4 come in at the same time. Should the whistle go towards the smoke box or cab? It should face the smoke box. The shield will be on the cab side. So, if I'm in the cab, I'm looking forward, there's the whistle, and the shield is behind it, blocking the sound from me. I don't need to hear that. I already know I'm blowing the whistle. Yeah, a guy, maybe a couple of months ago, when I realized that Living Rared was in a state where I could mess with it a little bit, I did a couple of streams wherein I messed with it. But it was just part of regular iron construction, so I wouldn't expect anyone to be able to find them. Ooh! Yeah, we're gonna need to mess with the... We're gonna need to mess with the portal. Because we're gonna need to mess with the portal. Once we do that, then we can make a decision on how this area is gonna look, if I trust it, if it feels like it's gonna work, if I can make sense of it, and if... If that's all true, then I can tailor the rest of this to the freight staging and the iPortals. iPortals/portals. Which there would probably be, I don't know, 3 of them. Well, no, I mean, there would probably be a whole bunch. In fact, I would probably be best served tying everything together, having a big crossover, and then bumping it back out so I have, like, a big bank of portals I can send them to all sorts of people at once without reconfiguring. It's worth thinking about. But I think that is probably the best place that we're going to end it, because I'm not diving into that tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Under Construction. I know we didn't get a whole lot done, but we talked a little bit about lore. I finally got to look at that rule without the game breaking down. And hopefully, I'll see you next week. This is the Admiral, signing off.